Hello and welcome to step 2 of our drawing guide. Last video we went over kind of what I've dubbed the mannequin phase where we got the basic shapes and everything laid out. Now we're going to move towards drawing our character. This is kind of a sketching phase of how things go. This is where we're going to create a lot more of what our character will actually look like before doing our final decisions and stuff on it. So I got two documents open. I have our one from our last video that we've been using for our picture, and then I have the concept art for Aurora in Absolution. This serves as my concept art slash my color palette. As you can see here, I got like my mouth color, my hair colors, eyes, as well as a couple little notes. Something you'll see a lot of artists do is actually create for their character design sheet angles from like the front, side, and back to help stay consistent with the character design throughout the project. This is something that I haven't really ever had a large problem with. I'm gonna have stuff like the back of the belt here and her tattoo to kind of remind myself that yeah, those things are there and this is what they look like. But as a whole, I've just always been able to remember it. That's just something kind of the way I am. So, let's move on now. So the first thing I do is I drop the opacity down to maybe, I don't really have a set, I just make it so these colors are lighter. What opacity is how basically solid is that layer. So by messing around with this I can make it lighter, I can make it darker or lighter. Next, so now that it's lighter, maybe I'll darken that just a bit more so I can see it. Not too much. I come over to my layers and I create a layer above the one I have done my mannequin face on. This will make it easier for editing purposes and different stuff like that. Next, I zoom in. I usually like to start with the head, just because I feel like if I could get the face down right, then everything else will follow. The face is where all the emotions are at, and so, well, I try to say all, it's where most of the emotions are at, so I find it to be very important to get. Now, with my concept art, I could come back here and take a look at references and different stuff. So I can remember better of what she looks like to draw. This is really important, especially in early phases of work, because you need to keep reminding yourself. But it's something that, as you do more and more of it, you kind of develop the muscle memory for what something looks like. So I'm going to start putting together the face. I'm kind of starting with her eyes. When I did her character design, I wanted to create more unique looking eyes than just kind of a circle. So she's got kind of an arch that comes up here that extends outward to kind of create little eyelash-like things. Next I'm getting what's going to become the top of her nose, kind of a muzzle looking thing. Yeah, that wasn't working. Going to try and mumble a bit as I work, but this might be a bit of a while. Alright, so we got here that's going to form the top part of her mouth. And here we have the lower part. One of the things I learned early on is you don't have your bottom jaw reach out as far as the top because it makes the face look really blocky. And it already looks like that enough. So kind of come out here and you got to see forms kind of for a jawbone. Come up here, create what will make the probably the eyebrow. Actually, these are the eyebrows, but kind of the side of her head a bit. And start putting together her hair. Gotta go put in the ear, draw out the horn. I think her head is tilted far enough that we would see the ring on it out there at the end. We come around, add the hair. That's a bit much. One of the things I've recently learned is when doing hair is you don't have it sit flat to the head. To kind of give it more hair-like appearance, you add volume to it, meaning it's actually bigger than the head. Alright, so got that. And draw out her neck. The next is something I have a hard time with because you don't want them to be too long, too short, or too wide. Next we come out to the shoulders, which kind of actually slope a bit. We'll come down to the arms. What you can't see me doing is I'm actually checking to see kind of where is my elbow at in proportion to the rest of my body. Because as you can see, I have it down here and it's not that far down, it's actually more up here. Now we come to the hands, which are something that can be pretty difficult to draw. Like right there, those don't look right at all. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I did some yard work a few days ago and all that grass is kind of agitated in the throat. Now, while doing those little lines and stuff isn't always a good idea, I'm at the start. It does help kind of set, I guess, how to put it, like identifying features and stuff a bit. Kind of give an idea of which way are things facing and how they come together. Yeah, it looks like we got more of our hand now. Let's take a look at that. It's too big. That's okay. I could come in here. And here's my favorite little cheat tool. Oops. No, that's too small. That's one of the great things about this is you can figure, that doesn't look right, so you make changes and like, no, that's even worse. So then when you go back, you're like, it doesn't look that bad anymore. Maybe her head's probably is too small now. Well, that's something I'll have to get to in there. I'll probably try fixing a bit more. Oh, hooray! Awkward face again. I'm not following exactly what I've drawn before. Alright. I'll make kind of what's going to be the knee. Might say knee. I'm going to make the calf there. And come down more and do this. Well, the sketching stage is actually relatively new to my style. If you look at an older video I did a few years ago, I didn't do the sketching stage or the mannequin stage. But I guess that's growth. The sketching stage I started doing more because it helps the third stage, which we'll cover here in another video in a bit. Yeah. Bad. Let's break in this leg a little bit more. Yeah, she's got some pretty big thighs intentionally, but they're not quite that big. One of the things I've learned with female characters in particular is you kind of have to, the hip, flaring out that outer hip is kind of a bigger deal. And you see here I just turned off the mannequin layer so I could kind of get a better feel for how it's looking. Now let's do this hand on the hip. Fingers are coming around too far. So let's shorten everything up. Change our angle a little bit on it. I'm doing kind of that thing where I'm just kind of mumbling gibberish. So now, that's a basic shape, good. Come back down and start to do the tail. Now the tail length is something that I've gone back and forth on, where sometimes it's short. But in my later stuff, well, I should say it's shorter. But one of the things I've been noticing is really just how long the Tauren's tails are. If you extend out that hip more, get rid of that. And so I've been kind of trying to incorporate that. Get rid of this layer. Alright. Okay, now we got an idea. Alright, so now let's start to actually make it look like she's dressed. Collars are something that I've been struggling lately with, of how do they actually work and come together and different stuff. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go this way. This is probably the wrong way to do a collar, but it's the method I'm using. Is that right? Maybe more of an arch. And here, change the angle on this. Make it look more round. I'm going to finish off this jacket first. We can have an arch there to help make a sleeve, and then Add kind of this rolled up thing on it. This side doesn't have that. Alright, let's figure out kind of where their pants start. They're going to look like they can start up there. The jacket down there. Oh, not the jacket. Kind of the shirt bunches up down here. Shirts fold. Her belly button. Down there. That's not right. Should be more actually off to the side here. Lower her pants up a bit for the belt. Put in the buckle, which sits under the button. Alright. Come down to her legs. This one's kind of extended outward, so we're actually going to put the arch around like that. And actually drop that one down, make the pants just a little bit longer. Then I'll put this the other way, because of the direction the legs are at, that one's behind. A lot of, not to give directions to which way limbs and stuff are facing is on the clothing is actually to how you do your interior lines, I'm going to call them, but lines that don't make up the outline of your shape. Now her head doesn't look that big anymore. I mean, it looks bigger here, but no, this actually looks better filled out. I mean, her head doesn't look that tiny, but we are missing something. We are missing her ponytail. There we go. Too long. So I think that's all we're going to get. Length of the ponytail. I'm just going to check over this side if there's any other changes I want to make. I'm not adding her armor in this picture because this is going to be a very nice picture of Aurora. Seems like things like in the comic things right now are kind of rough and stuff, and it's been a while since we've seen Aurora be adorable, which is a characteristic of her. Got the collarbone and different stuff going on. So yeah. And that is our sketching phase. So sorry if I didn't talk a whole lot of say a whole lot of comprehensive things while working on this. It's something that I need to work on. I'm sure talking about drawing. This doesn't look right down here. His hand's still bothering me. If I just shrink it up that much, what's that going to do? Yeah, that looks better. So let's go ahead and clean things up. One nice thing about a sketchy phase is you can be sloppy with a lot of it, and in some regards that's actually good. Kind of loosen up and get to experiment more, try new things. She's got 2 more on her hand. Perhaps forearm's looking a little too big. There, bow. Yeah, that looks weird. No, don't like any of those changes. Alright, so I guess I just need to stop fiddling around with it and move on. So that was our sketching phase. Thank you for watching. I hope that despite my not saying anything, you did learn something and you did find some interesting stuff in here. So thank you, and I guess have a good day.